Welcome to The Holistic Nurse with your host, Peggy Smith. Peggy will introduce and educate her viewers about the differences between alternative, holistic, and complementary medical therapies. Her goal is to empower the lay medical consumer to learn how to advocate for themselves. So now, please welcome the host of The Holistic Nurse, Peggy Smith.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's The Holistic Nurse with Peggy Smith. Today, we're going to talk about how you can improve your life and be healthier with the use of something called redox supplements. And I'd like to welcome Brian.
Good
Brian,
morning, Peggy.
where are you at? Oregon, you told me, I think, or did I get it right this time?
Coming to you from Richland, Washington.
Oh, Washington. I knew that was, all right, I'm not good in geography. Well, welcome anyway. And introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your senior marathons and all these good things that you just do like we just.
Oh, life has been fun. I started running marathons when I was like 48 years old after I lost some weight. That's a whole nother story. We can go into that another time. But about 6 years ago, I became associated with, started using a product, redox signaling molecules, and that has literally transformed my health. In fact, this year, the day after I turned 70, I took part in what's called the Climb 89 Challenge here locally, and it's designed to mimic summiting Mount Everest. And then if you do various heights, you do different mountains, Mount Denali, and I finally summited Mount Rainier, which went up and down the hills a total of 14,000 vertical feet and down the hill, that much. Then in March of this year, I did my first 100K, which is 62 and a half miles, ran all through the night. The thing that's exciting about that is that I'm doing it and feeling better, having faster recovery than I did when I was younger. I mean, my right knee's been scoped twice, left knee's been scoped once, and I used to have to take a lot of over-the-counter medications just to handle the pain when I run, and I don't do that anymore. I've seen other benefits as well. It's just fun. It's helped me run. Then October I'll run my 30th marathon.
That's pretty impressive. So what are these redox molecules and where do we find them? Like, are they in the
Well,
sky?
the company that distributes them and has the technology is a company called ASEA. And redox signaling molecules, the easiest way to describe it is, well, let me grab my cell phone, is everybody knows your cell phone is a great tool, and the bodies within our cells, our cells within our body are great tools as well. They do amazing things. However, if there's no signal, this thing doesn't work. And it's the same thing that they are now discovering. And it's opening up a whole new field and a whole new avenue technique of healing. And it involves with improving the body's communication and improving the body's ability to actually heal itself. And so you put in more communication and the body heals itself. Just like your phone. When you're going down the road and you drop a call, you don't reach out and grab a new phone. You look, oh, gee, what are my bars of service? Well, that's the same thing you can now do with your body. If your body isn't working right, then let's look at what's actually perhaps causing that. Is it a little bit deeper than, hey, you're just not eating things? I mean, if you think about it, this is the way this concept works. You've been eating, you've been sleeping all your life and things are going fine. But what happens? What is the difference between age-related problems and things that you had when you were younger? What is that key ingredient? Is it the food you're eating? Well, you're still eating. Is it the sleep? Well, you're probably still sleeping. There's an all-important element, and that is cellular communication. In fact, and the research is all over out there for it. In fact, in 2021 or somewhere in there, a gentleman wrote a book called One Disease. And in there, he validated all the research that was out there. He's not associated with the company at all. That common to all illnesses and conditions that are negative and going on, whether that's be abnormal cell growth, whether that be inflammation, whether that be blood sugar levels. There's one thing common with all those conditions. It's a lack of cellular communication. And so that's a really critical thing. This concept of cellular communication is vital. It's not just a little thing, it's a big thing. If you'll just think about it, what could be bigger? I mean, if you're living with somebody and you can't communicate, that's miserable. If you're reaching out to a business and they're not responding, that's miserable. Things aren't working, things aren't functioning. It's the same thing with your body. It's got a need and it's not getting the connection. You got cell over here that's got the answer, and you got cell B that's got the need, and the two just don't get together. That's what causes the problems. And
As you're talking, I'm trying to compare it to something that I'm familiar with, which would be some of the energy therapies like neuromodulation technique, EFT, things like that. And they're basically based on quantum physics principles, and the quantum physics principles of energy and everything try to accomplish the same thing, getting the cells to communicate. You're
yeah,
telling me this is strictly a hand a concrete or a touchable. It's like quantum physics. We don't see it. We just know it's part of our
yeah,
universe. Uh,
yeah, yeah. And
so
you got all the lasers and the lights and everything, all these things to encourage the body's mitochondria to actually function better so that they can create more of these signaling molecules. Well, we have signaling molecules in a bottle, and you just take them, and we have them in a gel. And so you put those things in there and the body works better. It's less expensive than all the other techniques. There are a large number of them.
right after a show I had with another host this week with my dog, actually, who's got a lot of skin issues. I was going to try your gel and see what that does for her, with the problems that she's having on her head, and I'm curious to see how that works out. How quickly does this work? I mean, quantum physics, there's intention, there's uh, things like that. And I will say I used to be a research chemist for an industrial paint company, which was pretty much physics. And although I didn't see, even though I had the science background, to me it was more like baking in the kitchen. A little titanium, a little this, to stir it up and spray it on the panels, and see how long it took to get rusty on the boat. um,
You ask the question, how long? And that depends. Everything and everyone is slightly different. That's what makes us unique. And so you can't say, boom, you're going to do this and it's going to happen over here. And it's going to happen in this amount of time, because the person may not be as healthy. I mean, the body is a complex issue. It's a complex organ, and it takes time for it to heal. And so you can't really say how long. I will tell you this kind of off, since you mentioned animals, I'm going to throw it in. It seems animals, when they get involved with the redox molecules and they use them, they have a faster and a more quick response than humans. I just kind of, I mean, they don't know, they haven't really said why, but I just myself say, gee, they have a faster metabolism. I mean, they don't live as long, but so maybe things are sped up with them. That's the only thing I can figure. They
I
just
know. Well, no, I think there's a human factor that humans get in the way of themselves all the time, and sometimes we're invested in being sick. And it's scary to think that we could be well.
oh,
Being sick is
absolutely.
something that's we're familiar with. But years
Oh,
ago, when I first heard about ththose redox, I had a Jack Russell who had pemphigus and some other autoimmune things, had been on prednisone all of his 13 years of life when I got him. He lived to almost 17, and I had just discovered the research about your redox molecules, and I put him on it. Within 3 months, he was off of prednisone. His skin was beautiful.
yeah.
Uh, you know,
No,
So
it happens. It is the missing link in people's health regime. It's just that simple because diet, we're all aware of that. We're all aware we need to have sleep and we all need to exercise. But why are those things not as effective? Or what if there was a way you could make them more effective? That's what the molecules do, because it makes all of these things more effective. You're now able to actually get the nutrients and get the value out of them of the food that you eat. Your sleep becomes more effective. Your exercise becomes more effective. Your recovery becomes more effective.
so when medical
Become
providers
more
hear
effective. And that bill,
with medical
what was that?
providers, and they're learning about this too, what is their attitude towards this? Do they think it's a little outlandish, or do they tried it themselves and say, "Wow, now I have
It
more time to work harder"?
it all depends on how open they are. That really is the case. I have plenty of doctors. In fact, I've got books up here on the shelf of doctors, by doctors and medical professionals that have actually used redox molecules and actually find them extremely effective in helping their patients. Yet you have other professionals, and I can't haven't really done the research, or they're not really in the position. And I'm not knocking any of those people, because most medical professionals are not in a situation where they can do a large amount of research. They count on people coming to them, or they go to, I mean, they're not able to do it. But when they do and they understand it, then it's like, oh my land, you're kidding. This really actually works, and this can actually be done. It is actually touted by many professionals as being the biggest lifestyle, health style discovery of our generation or of the century. I mean, it is the potential of this is amazing.
So tell us exactly what you said. It comes in a bottle and everything. Is it a tonic? What exactly, and how is it processed that makes it special?
Well, let's first go in to what it is. And I am not, by all means, not a chemist or any of these things, or a atomic medical physicist, like any of these things. The the body. In fact, let's just start. What is your body made out of?
Water.
Primarily salt and water. Salt and water. That's what our body is made out of. And that is what these molecules are made out of. The history of this company and the history of the product is phenomenal. It is one of a company that stumbled and developed and was working on creating a pharmaceutical drug. And they created this process for turning salt and water into something, and they didn't know what it was. But when they gave it to people, and this was back in, we're talking years ago, probably the company's 15 years, about 25 years ago, back in the 80s, I believe, 80s, 90s, somewhere in there. Don't quote me on the dates, because I'm not in. I just know the story. They had a
Well,
product
just a minute for that. Why
created.
don't we take a quick break right here, and then you can tell us about the story and everything? Because
Okay, we'll do that.
yeah, that works. All right, thank you.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery, or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to easy
easysense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's easysense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness: Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals.
Hi, welcome back to the Holistic Nurse with Peggy Smith, and our guest today is Brian, who's been talking about redox signaling product. And tell us, before we get interrupted, what were you going to say?
Okay, let me get back into there, and don't quote me on the dates because I'm not a real date person, but I'll tell you the story. There was a company that had developed a product, and they were going to create a pharmaceutical drug with this product. And when they were giving it to people, they were seeing amazing health results. And it was a publicly traded company, and they were going to actually put it on the market. Well, they developed a problem. Well, actually, there was two problems, but one of them, when they went to register that with the FDA as a pharmaceutical drug, the FDA would not register it as a drug. And the reason they would not do that is because they could not obtain an LD50 on this substance or this liquid that they had. And LD50 stands for lethal dose 50. That is the amount of anything you give an animal and it dies. That is why they weigh when you go in the doctor's office. They want to know how much. They don't want to kill you. But what they found is that they could not kill any animals with this thing. It had no toxicity to it. What happened at that point is the FDA says, well, this is great. It's doing all these wonderful things, but it can't be a pharmaceutical drug because there's nothing to regulate. It can't hurt anybody. It's totally safe. So now you've got to go into you got to be a supplement. Well, when that happened, the financial backers of this company said, well, we're not going to make our money on killing in the stock market and in the pharmaceutical industry. So they started pulling their funding. The company started to go down, there's no income right now from the investors. What to do? They brought in a business strategist by the name of Virtus Norton. And Virtus looked at the research, said it was amazing, and tried to raise money. Could not either, because he was the same boat as they were. Hey, would you like to invest in our pharmaceutical drug that can't be a pharmaceutical? It didn't work. But he said, I believe in this. I will buy all the rights. I'll buy the patents. I'll buy the research, all the equipment. I'll buy it all, and I'll work with this thing and see if we can't figure out a way to take this thing to market. Well, the product also had another problem at that point. It was giving great results, but it had a very short life. They had to actually give it almost intravenously, just almost immediately, in a short period of time. I can't even remember the window, but it was a very short window that they had to get the stuff in the body, and it was working. Well, Virtus brought in an atomic medical physicist by the name of Gary Samuelson, and he worked with these things and figured out how to actually stabilize the product so that it could now be taken to market. and it was put into a liquid. It comes in a nice little blue bottle. Let's see if I can turn that thing correctly. Yeah, and it it has a shelf life of like 16 months. Actually, they've increased the shelf life now. They've done some amazing improvements to the product, but it now had a stable form and people could use it. They could now take it to market. So now Virtus has got this wonderful technology, great results, and they put a number of people on it to see what would happen if the people would actually take it, because it was not, I mean, it was a liquid and you would take it orally. They sent it out to like 40 people, and in less than 2 months, I mean, it was like these people had sent it out to like 120 people. That answered their question. During this period of time, Virtus also reached out to some contacts in the pharmaceutical industry to see if they would now like to buy this now stabilized product that could actually be used. What he received back from the pharmaceutical industry was, yes, we will take your product, we'll buy your product, we'll make you an offer so big you won't take it to anybody, you won't even want to talk to anybody else. And he said, well, what's the catch? Well, the catch is you have to take everybody that's using the product has got to come off. And we get all the patents, we get all the technology, we get all the equipment, we get everything. You walk away. You're out of the picture. When that happened, Virtus asked, well, what about these people? Some of these people are in a bad situation. In fact, they were dying before the product. And they said, well, people deal with that all the time. If you want to work with us, you walk away. And at that point, they made a conscious decision that we are going to turn away this generational wealth. And we're going to find another way to get this product to market, because they didn't trust that it was actually going to make it to market. And that is why they are now distributing the product through word of mouth advertising, because it requires a story. If you put this thing on the shelf and somebody walks in and looks at, oh, it's made from salt and water. Well, shoot, I can do that at home. Well, no, you can't. It's a special process. Originally it was taking 32 hours to make this. They've now got it down to 16. That was 3.5 days that they were. I mean, it took them forever to make a batch. Now they've got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been able to prove it. They've worked with the process. It's now a stronger, more potent product than it was when it started 15 years ago. They've been able to make some amazing, amazing advances in the product as they've worked with it, because this is new. This is like going down a path that nobody had ever been before. That's when this was back in the day, redox molecules. I think it was 2008 was the first time that they had actually given a Nobel Prize to people for actually discovering what redox molecules were. Prior to 2008, people thought that redox molecules were an off gas. They were part of the Krebs cycle. These mitochondria did their stuff, and these were waste products. And now these guys discovered, two scientists discovered, there's not a waste product. These things are actually the way cells communicate. And so they figured that thing out. That was back in 2008. That was after, they did not even know what this product was when they developed it. They just knew it worked. And that's where Gary Samuelson came in and kind of figured it out. They started to figure out what was going on. We've now been able to take this product and they put it into a gel. It took them 5.5 years to find a substrate, a substance that they could mix the liquid with so that people could apply it topically. And you now are able to target it topically if you got like an ache or a pain there. If you've got a cut or a bruise, you can use this product. It's extremely amazing on cosmetic things. You put it on your face and your wrinkles, the wrinkles just tend to disappear, because why? The body heals itself, and it heals itself faster. In fact, even this year, they've discovered some more things they can do with this. And they have now discovered that if you actually add gold flakes to it instead of like this product right here and this one. I got things backward. They play all 88 keys on the piano, so to speak. Everything. They will. I mean, they'll work on everything. But when they add gold to it, it only plays a few keys. And those keys are inflammation. And you can take it. I've actually given this to people and said, hey, your knees got to hurt. And yeah, he said, oh yeah, man, I was hurt as a football player in college, and it really is miserable. Well, I had long pants here. Gave him a sample tube, go in the bathroom, rub some on your knee, and come tell me how it feels. He went into the restaurant, the coffee shop, came back and said, what's in this stuff? The pain's gone. It is truly amazing how fast this product works on inflammation that people have and experience. It is amazing how it works on the inflammation and the discomfort. And this is all new science. This is cutting edge stuff. And it's all validated. I mean, there's books all over. And this process, they had 2 universities that actually figured this out in their research labs. So this is like, wow, people are figuring it, and they're out testing it, trying new things. It's fun. They're having a great experience with it. It's not just like this. I mean, this stuff not only makes you healthier, but it helps with your respiratory system. It helps you to breathe better. I mean, people will get on a treadmill, they'll take this, and I've had this experience myself. You know, you're able to run faster, harder, at a steeper incline at a lower heart rate.
So when you say that in that example, is it because you have to have it take it for a few weeks to get that goal, or do you really just feel almost instantly?
It all depends. I mean, I got to tell you this. I keep it in a spray bottle and spray my eyes with it too. You know, just it helps with my eyesight. You gotta don't want it all over my face, but the stuff's entirely safe. You can drink it, spray it, whatever. It's amazing. But back on how quick, again, it depends. If people, it's really kind of funny. If people tend to have a really major thing or something, sometimes they notice it really quick. People that are generally healthy, it may or may not. It depends on how much in tune they are and exactly really what is going on. But it works at the genetic level. In fact, in 2017, to validate this a little better, in 2017, they actually did a study. And it wasn't a study where they went out and surveyed a batch of people. Hey, you take this stuff, how do you feel? They actually did a study and by looking at genetic function. They actually looked at the genes of people. They put this group of people on genes on the redox, the double-blind placebo-controlled, the people that were not on the original product, but the placebo product was the same saline solution that this is made of, but had not gone through the process. Okay, so it was the same exact stuff, but it hadn't gone through their process. Okay, that's what they used, but it had anywhere from 20 to 30% improvement in the genetic expression of 100% of the participants. 100% of the participants, in the way their hormones were functioning, in their immune system, their circulatory system, their inflammation, it's amazing the way it worked, and it did it at the genetic level. It's really not a matter of, are you someone that this will work with? It will work. It works on 100% of the people. The question is, do you take it properly? Are you taking enough? I mean, if you think about it, if you're in a deep hole, it's going to take a big ladder to get you out of there. And so it's going to take more redox. It's going to take more time. And honestly, sometimes if you're in there too deep, you got to take it. I mean, that opens up a whole new thing. Prevention is better than trying to fix something. I mean, if you can keep yourself healthy.
Right.
And
Okay, so
so
we're going to come back again in a couple minutes. Maybe you can tell people how they can reach you and get more information. Your website, I think, provides some of that information about the
sure.
product. Yeah. Okay, we'll be right back in just a moment.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. Yeah, it feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
So, welcome back to the Holistic Nurse with Peggy Smith. Brian has been telling us how to make our life easier with, not a lot of pharmaceutical medical benefits being spent. How would somebody get this product or get in touch to get more information about it, get questions answered?
Okay. Well, the product is actually distributed through word of mouth advertising. So if you somebody that's shared it with you, reach out to them. The easiest way is to actually just reach out and talk to me. I'd be glad to talk to you. Here is, I've got a little, hopefully if you can read this, you could probably scan it.
Oh, okay.
That will actually work. And my web address is, got to go down here a little
Your web
more.
address is on the screen, yes.
There it is. Okay, if they'll type in that web address or scan that little flow code there, that will work. And that will actually, you can reach me that way. It's, I dropped it. The website is flowcode, flowcode.com/page/ my last name, which is Kreitzer, Kreitzer. And that's it. And that's got information about the product. It's got videos. It's got testimonials. It's got pricing. It's got everything, and even a way to reach out and contact us down below. Cell phone is 509-572-7680. That's the best way to reach it.
So, well, I don't expect to start running marathons when I try this product, but you have such a positive attitude for. I'm not going to call you a senior citizen, but you're actually not that much older than I am. But what would you like to offer the people that sometimes just don't feel like they have the energy to even bother?
Oh, get out there and do it. In fact, I mean, if they'll reach out to me, I can give them a 10% discount on the product for being on the show here and stuff. So let me
If
know.
anybody has any questions on the YouTube, you can put the question there, and I'll direct them to Brian, and he can answer you.
Do that. You can find me on LinkedIn, and that's another good place. But I don't have that address there, and the one I gave actually works. But the main, and I'm just going to make a plea out there. Many times people are expecting the answers to come from a certain avenue. And it doesn't come that way. It comes another way. People are hurting. They're hurting physically. They're hurting financially. This product has a way to help. The issue is, are you open? Would you like to be able to be healthy? Would you be able to, what would it mean to spend another day with a loved one? Or to be able to see a grandchild that you've never seen? What would these moments in life be? What would it be like to be able to play with your grandchildren again without aches and pains? That is one of the stories that really excited me. I remember going to a meeting and a guy came up there, walked up. His posture was wonderful. And he said, man, I want everybody to know my story. I'm 74 years old. And 6 months ago, I couldn't have walked up here without a cane. I couldn't play with my grandkids. And he says, and I don't have a cane now, and I'm able to enjoy my grandkids. That is what redox signaling will do. It gives you an opportunity to get your life back. It's not about taking a substance and it's about life. That's what this is. It's life. You come down here to earth, it's not about doing things, getting things. It's about living. It's about reaching out and helping people. I mean, if you listen to this thing, you say, well, I know somebody that hurts. Well, let's find out if they really want to be healed. Let's find out if they're open. Because if they are, they can receive the goodness. You can receive this opportunity. You can receive your life back. You can receive no inflammation, discomfort. Imagine how it would be to actually walk again, to be able to stand up straight. These are things that happen naturally as the body heals. That is what we're talking about. We're talking about the life that you would like to have, the life that you may have had and you can't have anymore. The one that people say, hey, just face it. Accept your new reality. I mean, there are people out there that have been, God, I remember Danielle's got a wonderful one. Was in an automobile accident and didn't have the mental capabilities. And her doctors just told her, hey, accept it. That's your new reality. Well, she didn't. She's now got a normal life. People that are on the spectrum, kids, just accept it. No. Have a life. That is what it's about. It's about opportunity. It's about living. And that's what excites me. I mean, at my age, to do what I do, and that's wonderful.
And what was your original profession? We just have about a minute and a half to go. Just curious what your background was originally.
Oh, I've got two professions. I've been in motel management and also in construction. And I still dabble in construction there, and was on a site this morning. But we'll go out and I'll run my half marathon on Saturday, and we'll go out and have fun. But you do it. The background's not critical. The thing that's critical is I was looking for a solution. I wanted something that would stop a discomfort that I had. I wanted something that would allow me to be able to compete competitively. I wish I now need to learn, Brian, you got to practice. You got to work harder during the practice. Yeah, I've got to do that. And so you've got to do it, but it's given me an opportunity. It's given me an avenue. It has given me hope.
Well, thank you very much for sharing this avenue and the possibility that hope is out there for everybody. It's a water product, so you shouldn't be allergic to it. And I want to thank you for coming on the show this week and sharing this. If anybody has any questions, we'll reach out to you. And I hope you do well in that marathon coming up.
Yep, we'll finish it. That's the object. Any marathon you finish is a good one. In fact, if you got 30 seconds for a joke, how do you tell if a person's a marathoner? Don't worry, they'll tell you.
All right. Thank you, Brian, very much for sharing this with us today. And you have a good week. We'll talk soon.
All right, bye.
Thank you.
This has been The Holistic Nurse with host Peggy Smith. Tune in each week where you're encouraged to send in questions and receive private responses and suggestions if appropriate. Thursdays, 1 p.m. Eastern.